Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Platinum webinar. I'm your host, Mr. Todd Walters. Great to talk to you. For all the comments on last week's training session with Kristen. So I thought it would be a really cool thing to hear from her. She's done a great job with her people, and calling back the leads, really getting appointments. So appreciate the comments on that. That was good. And big shout out to Kristen too for doing that. So as you know, we break these webinars down. We do 4 a month. Okay. So on weeks, or I should say on months where we have 5 weeks, 5 Tuesdays in a month, then we get to take that last one off. But the first 4 Tuesdays of the month lay out like this. So I'd like for you to write this down just so we're all clear on what we're doing. The first Tuesday of every month is what we call Rainmaker webinar. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, we want to drill down on rainmaking activities. What are the things that you should be doing and only should be doing that will make you a quantum leap? All right, what are they? What are the things that you and you alone should be doing as a team leader in your business to make the most amount of money, make a quantum leap in your business? What are they? Do you know? So, and there's a pretty short list. So the first Tuesday is to drill down on those activities. And you can even use the word productivity. So the one thing that I like about many of you is you're pretty smart at defining what's activity and what's productivity. Not all activity is productive, right? So we're going to be talking here momentarily with an expert at what's productive. And we're going to learn a lot today on today's session. All right. So the second Tuesday of every month, we do our advanced lead conversion webinar. That's what Kristen hosted last week with you. And we always say, look, get everybody on your team that's responsible for anything having to do with lead conversion on those webinars. Okay. The third Tuesday of the month, I think it's a great idea to take a time out and interview or spend some time with one of our platinum level members who's just hitting it out of the park. Really good implementer of the system, and pick their brain, so to speak, what's working, what's not working, and all learn from that success. Okay, and I sent you that promo today, and today is going to be following that. Okay, with this mega rich platinum member. Okay, rich agent, if you want to call him that, Craig Proctor system expert. All right, so what are the deficiencies in your business right now? Where are your issues? What are they? Make sure you've got them written down in front of you. You should show up these webinars with your lists of things to do and follow along, look to solve those issues, add to your to-do list and that sort of thing. This is to work on your business time every Tuesday. The fourth Tuesday, we drill down on something having to do with get listings. So we've got over 40 ways to get listings. Okay, so why don't we pick one way and drill down on it the fourth Tuesday of every month? I mean, think about it. If you could implement just one new marketing system a month to get listings, well, at the end of a year, you'd have 12. Is that right? Okay, well, you don't need 12 marketing systems to get listings, but you do need a few of them working really, really well. So that's the fourth Tuesday of every month. So there you go. That's kind of the format that we've been following that seems to be most effective for all of you guys at these webinars. But let's face it, these are webinars, these are web sessions. Me, you, a special platinum member, Andrea, going back and forth, working on your business from these angles. Nothing replaces the meetings. So here I am at craigproctorcoaching.com. I click on the events tab under schedule, and you can see the meetings. The meeting that we're going to focus in on right now heavily is Orlando. Coming up February 16th and 17th in Orlando, Florida. This is what I call the Ultimate Real Estate Business Conference, and it's for members only. Okay, nobody else, just for you guys. It's a giant 2-day event, all day long, 2 days, basically cramming 2.5 days, 3 days into 2. So make sure you show up there on the 15th, and you're there probably leaving out morning of the 18th unless you're local. You can download the agenda and get checked in right there. But this is a must-attend event. You're talking about 8 millionaire agent presenters on what's working now. We're going to drill down on the very, very specifics of the changes in the industry that are happening right now that are aimed at you. So you are in the crosshairs of technology companies and discount real estate brokerages and people that believe they can eliminate what you do So what are you going to do about it? So in 2019, you better be a really good marketer. Really good marketer. Your marketing skills are going to be even more necessary. Okay, it's going to be tougher for many of you to get just the one-off business. You know how you get some of those people just call you out of the blue. You're going to have to be a really good marketer here. So 2019, February 16th and 17th would be a great way to get that started. So if you're not there, you're going to miss out on all that. But like I said, 8-9 millionaire agent presenters over the course of 2 full days. It's about 20 hours worth of sessions and session materials and breakouts. Go check out the agenda. Make sure you get registered. If you have any issues or questions, reach out to me at platinum@toddwalters.com, platinum@toddwalters.com. Okay. But my expectations are I'm going to see you guys there. And we're going to get 2019 kicked off to be your biggest and best year ever. All right. So how are you doing at business planning right now? Are you a business planner? Are you pretty good at sitting down and working out in a plan on what your business needs to look like over the next coming year? Okay, because the guy that I've got on the phone with us right now, he's a really good strategist at being able to sit down and discern what needs to happen in the coming year to reach goals. So if that's okay, I'm just going to go ahead and bring him on. Many of you know him, Mr. Wally Kerr, out in Oklahoma. Wally, how you doing?
Hey, Todd. Great. How you doing today?
So I like your text that you sent me there. Let's see. Let me read it to everybody. It says, I'm at my branch office in Edmond, just had a $700,000 seller walk in who wanted to know more about your guaranteed sell program, and your average price there in Edmond is only like $260,000. So how do you get somebody to walk in the door looking for you? That's some pretty good marketing.
Yeah, that was a good one. In fact, I was watching the clock and trying to figure out how I was going to chase him out of the office to get on this webinar in time. He was a talker, and I was able to convert him. Took him straight to our list of buyers, and showed him when he needed to see. By the time he left, he was convinced he's not going to put his home on the market for about 60 to 90 days. But he just said he'd heard about our program and looked it up on the internet and found our address. And his house is in a really nice gated community, only about 1.5 miles from here. So great win story on the guaranteed sale program. Todd, you know that I built my business. I've been with you and Craig now since 2007. And I immediately came back from a Dallas, Texas conference and sat down in the middle of the bathroom floor. My wife was going out of town the next day, and sat down and explained to her that Craig Proctor was a genius. And I said, I want to implement these things. So within 6 weeks of returning, you were talking about implementing. And I think some of our most successful members, you and I would agree, are the ones that implement the fastest. And I was so excited about everything I saw. I came back and implemented, and here I am 11 years later, still with you and doing great.
Yep. So let's talk about great. What's your year going to look like this year? How many deals are going to end up at, and what's your team look like? Just give us a snapshot on what the Wally Kerr team looks like there in Oklahoma. Okay.
All right, good. So we're going to be about consistent with last year, about 345 homes closed. We'll double in about 15% of those. So the number of transactions will end up somewhere between 385 and 400. Our market's off a little bit. Probably everybody's noticed how cheap gasoline is all of a sudden. What's the price of gas in your marketplace right now, Todd?
I don't know. When you drive a Hummer, you try not to look at it too much. Makes you cringe. Start focusing.
We've got gas that's going to make a few people sick. We got gas for $1.97 a gallon out here. So we're facing a little bit of a challenged economy, but that's okay because our methods in the Craig Proctor program are time tested, and we know what to do when there's recessions, and we know what to do when times are good, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of deals, man. What's your team makeup right now?
So right now I've got 11 OSAs, and I've just down to 2 ISAs right now, and getting ready to train one with Kristen Stampini, who did a great call with you last week. I thoroughly enjoyed that call. It was excellent. So we're getting ready to train another ISA to go into the year. So I've got 11 OSAs and 2 ISAs, and then an administrative staff. You know me, Todd, we've always been a little admin heavy on my team. So between team couriers, because we're in two parts of the metro, and then my administrative staff. I've got about 7 administrative people, full and part-time, and that'll be as many as 8 or 9 during the summertime when we'll carry 115, 120 listings. So we believe in what we call WOW customer service, which sounds corny, but it really is true. We don't want our sellers to ever have to call and ask what's going on in their home. So we have a customer service administrator that calls every seller once a week, and I know you did that with Todd Walters and Associates back in the early 2000s, and I think you were really successful with it too.
Yeah, let's talk about that real fast. That's the one thing that I've seen a lot of our Platinum members in the last 15 years of this level of implementation is that they push back on sort of the last thing that they go about hiring is a customer service manager. But I think you would probably disagree with that strategy. It's a tremendous point of leverage in your business, is it not?
Yeah, I agree. When I was a single agent before I joined up with you guys, there were months when I'd sell 20 homes myself in a single month, and I always carried about 45 to 50 listings. 10 of those would be a builder account. And when you're doing that kind of production, you're making enough money, and there's a lot of people that justify that they don't want to spend that money. But, there's nothing worse than an unhappy customer. And so I just never believed that could be something that Wally Kerr or his team would put up with. And so the customer service manager for me is it's sort of like the inside sales agent. It's one of the most vital people on my staff. And she does a great job. Sarah Cornish is her name, and she's been with us about 2 years. And she grew into the position, but she's very good. And she makes weekly calls to the sellers, and we keep pretty happy customers around our place.
Yeah, you do. You get a pretty fair amount of referrals, repeat business, and customers coming back around. So, and I guess you're attributing that directly to the importance that you place on your customer service manager and that whole aspect of your business.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything unique there? Your customer service manager, is there anything that you would say is out of the ordinary or unique or exclusive that gives you an edge other than just having one? Is there anything special that they're saying over the telephone or things that they're working on, going the extra mile to change the outcome that makes a difference?
Yeah, sure. So she will email me. She normally makes her calls on Thursdays and Fridays because the week starts out slow for showings. Everybody's back to work on Mondays, and there's not typically as many Sunday showings here because church is big in Oklahoma. So she typically does her calls on Thursdays and Fridays, and she always emails me on Wednesdays and says, is there anything special you want me to talk about? So I'll typically talk about trends and showings, what they've been like, what people can expect, whether it's going to be school starting, holiday weekend, spring break, where parents are busy with the kids. And so she's always not just calling them and saying hello and do you have flyers and how's your signage out front, but it's more about, hey, Wally and Cindy want to share their insight with you, or Wally wants you to know that this weekend's probably going to be off on showings, or Wally and Cindy want you to know that school starts in a month. And if you want to sell your home, we really ought to take a step forward. Are you open to looking at a price reduction to keep your home priced competitively before the market slows down? And we've had a lot of those conversations. In fact, doing something that I didn't even tell you about, we have signs in yards today that say Black Friday sale, one day only. Call 330-3000 for details. So we have a third of our sellers agreed to 5% price reductions on their home for this Friday and through this weekend. And we had the signs printed up, and we've already had a couple of calls today. The signs went up yesterday, and that's just an aggressive move to prove to our sellers that, we're not taking the holidays off, that we want to stay diligent and try to get them an offer on their home as soon as possible.
How many listings you got today?
We've only got 59, so we're down quite a bit. We've got, say, probably 23 or 24 that are under contract. So my listing numbers are down a little bit. It's a little reflective of our economy, Todd. We actually listed fewer homes this summer, but that was the market trend also. Fewer people sold because they didn't view this as being a really great economy in Oklahoma right now. So when people don't sell, they don't turn around and buy. We're wrestling with that a little bit, but it'll come back. It's all good.
Mhm.
You know.
Right, so if you're just joining us on the Platinum webinar, we're talking to Mr. Wally Kerr. Wally Kerr is a longtime Platinum member from Oklahoma, and he'll do around 400 transactions this year, and a big believer in USP marketing. Now, a lot of the marketing that I've seen from you, it's really heavily brand driven, Wally. Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. You're sending me radio spots and everything else that's going on. Just give us a few ways that you're leveraging that unique selling proposition in your business. It's so good, like it causes people to walk into your office off the street, obviously, like the text that you sent me and what we just shared with everybody. $700,000 seller walks in a $260,000 marketplace and wants to talk to Wally Kerr about your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Like, that doesn't just happen by putting it on a business card. Like, this is pretty much who you guys are, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he literally walked out of here 20 minutes ago, Todd, and he just came in, and I invited him in to sit down, and he said, I'd like to know more about that guarantee and how it works and if it would apply for my home. So, I've been running radio for probably 6-7 years now with a guaranteed program. I waited until we had agents scattered all across the metro to where we could take on the sheer number of phone calls. So it's a lot of postcards to neighborhoods when we close a deal. We actually go in after we close a home, and let's say it's a Century 21 listing, and we go sell the property. The Century 21 sign goes down. Our sign goes up in the yard, and it has the guaranteed sales signage on it. Your home sold, or Wally will buy it. We sell a lot of homes, so that gets a lot of signage out. So whether it's postcards, newsletters, past customers, radio is really big. Of course, that helps get it out. But then you really encouraged me, Todd, to employ the House Talk program. And I thought it was going to be a lot of work to implement. But you said, this is it's going to be some of the cheapest advertising you're going to get for the guaranteed sale program. So almost every listing we've got's got a House Talk sign on it that we had made. And of course, it's got what we call the pre-roll and the post-roll. And it is a big, long advertisement on each end of the property description, which is in the middle for the guaranteed sale program. And I think that's that's cheap advertising. It's a lot cheaper than radio, I can tell you that. And I think it was really smart of you to push for me to implement House Talk. A little bit of work to get it implemented, but well worth the money. Now that it's in place, it's very easy, to go in and out of house. So that's good.
All right, I like the Black Friday sale idea. That's just playing on something that's going on in the marketplace right now, and it's on top of people's mind. So that's really cool. So you got you didn't get everybody, but you got a good bit of sellers to participate in that program. 5% discount if through the weekend. Awesome. So and the sign that you got out there just does say that Black Friday sale, huh?
Yeah, it's just Coroplast signs ordered in. They were only a couple of bucks a piece. They're totally black with white lettering. It's just real big Black Friday sale, ! One day only. Call 330-3000 for price. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah. That's it. When I look you up online, whether you send me something in the mail, no matter where I go, like it's really hard for me to find Wally Kerr without your home sold guaranteed or will buy it. Like I just don't, it's just sort of who you are in the marketplace. So that brand awareness, which is on everything, a lot of people, I think, it's on your email signatures, it's on your letterhead, your business cards, whatever website you have, wherever you are. Like you said, now it's on the radio, it's on your for sale signs, House Talk, direct mail marketing. It just goes everywhere that you go. So, and it seems like there's a direct correlation with your ability to promote that USP and the success that you've had, or consistency of your success through the marketplace, even in a marketplace where it's not. So would you say that out of everything going on in your marketplace, that would be probably the big thing that gets you the most results, or is there something else that has a direct impact into your business marketing wise or anything like that?
My past customers are huge. I was in the business, unlike a lot of other people. I'd been in 20 years when I found you guys, Todd. I found you in 2007, and I got licensed in 1987. So I already had a really big COI. And so the referral newsletters that you write and give to us, and then the, whether it's the in-house or or what's the other one called? In-house and
Homeward Bound.
Forgive me. Yeah, Homeward Bound. Those have been huge. We market For our past customers, that ends up being about 31% of our closings now every year is just past customers. So we do our, I've been doing customer appreciation events for years, ice skating at the holidays in downtown Oklahoma City, baseball games during the summer. We just did mini golf at a real beautiful mini golf course just because we felt like that would be good for all ages, be good for kids. Because, you do a kids movie and sometimes older adults don't want to go to a kids movie. They could take their grandkids, but you also have people that don't have kids or grandkids and they don't want to go see a kid movie. You always try to do something clean and nice for the family. So between snow tubing, the movies, baseball, ice skating, and then mini golf, we're always inviting our past customers to events so that they're not forgotten. And that's been really important. And then recently, I've implemented a couple of evening calling sessions and doing sales meetings in the evening where we meet, order pizza. We all sit and talk about the calls we're going to make and what we're going to say to customers. We'll do sales meeting at 6:30. We hit the telephones at 6:45. We call till 7:45 just to call and say hello to people. And I mean, it's real simple. I think that a lot of agents who have sold for as long as you and I have or did, they say, wow, I haven't called somebody in 6 years. What am I going to say to them? It's like you're in sales. Just call them up. Hey guys, it's Wally. I was driving by your neighborhood the other day and I drove by your house and made me think of how much I enjoyed working with you guys. How are the kids? And we're in sales. You and I know what to say. And so we do the calling night from 6:45 to 7:45. We do prizes for the agent that comes away with the most number of referrals. We always tell them about our cause. Hey, by the way, while I'm talking to you tonight, you guys know we're all about supporting Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. And I just want to ask you guys for your commitment to refer anybody that's thinking about buying or selling to us, because when you do, you're helping the kids with cancer. And that's what we're all about today. That's what our cause is. And it's really important to us. Can I have your commitment, to refer these people? So we make the calls for an hour until 7:45. Then we sit for 15 minutes and fill out thank you cards on letterhead and drop those in the mail, and everybody leaves by 8 o'clock. And that's a good business builder right there, because, the agents go out and show houses all day, show houses in the evenings, and they just want to go shack up at home and stop working. But you got to call those past customers and stay in touch. Our customer events are great, but we can't just rely on those. We got to call our past customers and ask them for the business too. And that's been good for our business.
Yep. So, you have clear direction on your business. So, you've done a great job with the Guaranteed Sale program. You're all about that. Your referral marketing system, spot on, leveraging a worthy call. So in other words, there's teeth behind her. There's reasons why people should refer you. Number one, they really got great service, and you are directly tied to the people in your community, or helping people or giving back to the people in your community that need it the most, especially with your involvement in the Children's Hospital, which is a unique selling proposition. So, all right, so lots of gold nuggets there. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions here. I've got a PowerPoint that I've been kind of flipping through a little bit here and there, but I've got a few things that I want to ask you here, a little bit off the topic of marketing, and I think it might help everybody who's watching right now. So one of the things that we do, we're pretty good at teaching people things, but there is a gap between knowing stuff and doing stuff. So you've been able to bridge the gap pretty well. Like when like you said, you come to a meeting, you come to a conference, you get on a webinar, you and I spend some time together, you walk away knowing stuff, but for whatever reason, you're able to get stuff done. Like you're turning the knowing into doing. So how are you able to bridge the gap between knowing and doing, while others that are on the webinar right now it may just take them longer to bridge the gap between knowing and doing, or may never get it off at all? Like, what's the secret sauce?
Yeah. So, the first conferences, I think I was guilty of doing what a lot of people do, and that is just sitting and taking endless pages of notes. And so I learned this one from Jim Buttrell, great guy. Jim's obviously very high up in our program, titanium level in San Diego, got a great business. And so he just opened up an Excel spreadsheet, and it's very simple. He'd type in anywhere from 4 to 10 words in the spreadsheet in the left-hand column, and then type in A, B, or C next to it. And so I bring my list home from the conferences. I'll edit that list on the way home on the airplane. And when I land, I get with my administrative team the minute I'm back. And it doesn't have to be a team of people. I mean, get with your assistant, get with your wife, get with one of the people in your office, and share the most important ideas, and then put timelines on them. Hey, guys, we saw this at the conference. We saw these scorecards. This is great for tracking your team's activities. We've got to implement this within 2 weeks. Who's going to take responsibility for this? And so the A items are covered in the first administrative meeting with my team, or with Cindy, also my wife, who is great with administrative and getting things implemented. Mm-hmm. And then the B and C items, take a little bit lesser priority. But once the A's are all completed and we've got a good timeline on those, then we move to the B and C projects.
A couple of gold nuggets there, Wally. One of them was, you're not the only one by far that's in charge of implementation. Like you do have other people on your team that are helping you get things done, getting things implemented. They're not just task doers; they're actually implementors of the system. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's a lot of things that wouldn't get done if I didn't have good, reliable people that we'd hired that are a big benefit to the business. We couldn't be without them today. We couldn't be profitable to the extent that we are, and certainly with my personality, because I'm a little bit of that ADD. I could certainly manage a lot of things at one time, but getting me to sit down and focus on one project when there's a business to run in 2 offices is difficult. So those administrative people are incredibly valuable.
All right, let's talk about let's shift gears just a bit. Talk about private disciplines. You obviously are focused. One of the problems I've seen Platinum members have is they focus on the wrong things. And I shouldn't say wrong is they don't require focus. It's just that they don't. It's not really making a difference in their business in terms of growth. It's selling houses, but it's not a vibrant, growing, say, entrepreneurial enterprise. So just tell us a bit about your routine, your private disciplines that allow you to get more done. Priority, like what do you focus on? How much effort are you putting into, or how much focus are you on the things that give you the biggest results, and maybe what percentage of time of day that you're investing in that?
Okay, good. Yeah, so my deadline is I've got to be to the office every morning by 8:15, and I've eaten breakfast, and I sit down and have about 30 minutes of time every morning uninterrupted. I go in and shut my door, and I organize my day. I don't open up and start doing emails. The only reason I'll look at email is if there's a lead there. There may be a Realtor.com or a lead, that needs to be taken care of. But otherwise, email is not part of the first 30 minutes of my day. And you told us back a few months ago, every single morning at 7 a.m., I have a text message that comes onto my telephone. And it just says, what am I doing today to make a quantum leap? And so it's a matter of, am I just busy? Or am I making a quantum leap? The little text, I just looked at my phone, it says, am I just busy or am I productive? So I've got to grow my business. So the first 30 minutes of every day, I won't take any phone calls. It's a good time of morning at 8:15 because the phone doesn't ring that much. The admins know to take the calls for me. They tell them that I'll be available at 8:45 and I'm in a meeting. And the whole day is all about, what do I do to grow this business? Do I need to hire more agents? How are my ISAs doing? How are their conversions? How are we doing with our listings? One morning a week, I'll look and see our current listing inventory and check the number of those that reach 60 days, which I consider critical. And I'll make a phone call to those sellers. Back 6 months ago, I started calling every brand new lead that we take, thanking them for their business with our company, telling them how much we appreciate, that they've got a great agent on their side who really cares about the success of getting their home sold. So I've set myself up for that 60-day call to be able to sit and call those sellers, and that's a once a week call. That may be on a Thursday morning. Typically it's on a Wednesday or Thursday, and I'll call those sellers, tell them they've hit 60 days on the market, that we're very concerned about their listing, that we consider it critical, and we want to be sure and change the outcome for them. So just that 30 minutes, whether it is recruiting, whether it is looking at the ISA lead conversion, whether it is the agent's performance, whether it is planning a sales meeting, if it's calling sellers, whatever it is, that 30 minutes is committed to lining out the rest of my day. And I think one of the things that you've gone over so many times is don't get stuck in email. Don't just keep looking at your email account. Have a purpose for what you do every day when you go in. and determine what that purpose is at the start of the day, and make yourself a checklist, and don't go home until everything's done on the checklist.
Yep. Yeah, email is definitely a helpful tool, but it's also kind of a disaster for many folks. I was talking to some Platinum members earlier, and they were elaborating on their email marketing campaign, and I was like, no such thing. it's like it's not. Yeah, I mean, but the reason I was talking to them is because closings aren't going the way they want to. So I'm like, yeah, too much relying on email, not enough relying on like marketing. So I like that you mentioned that. All right, that's pretty strong. I like that. That's a good start. I wonder how many people days or businesses would change if they just disrupted their routine. Okay, in other words, their routine, the reason business is probably not where they want it to be is because their routine is the problem. Not that they're the problem. It's just that they've settled into some routine that doesn't have a design of growth. You know what I mean? Like you pretty much design, the business you get is the one that you've pretty much designed. Is that right?
It's worked for me. I mean, you've got to have a plan. You've got to go in with a plan. There are days that I'm more productive, and there are days that are less, but it's never because that I failed to plan for that day. Sometimes there'll be an interruption, like this guy that walked in that wants to talk about listing his $700,000 home, but that was a good 25-minute interruption. He was unplanned and didn't know he was going to walk in the office, and but that was great. So yeah, there's days that you may have something planned, but the real key is to focus on your business, to leave time for working on your business. The best thing for Wally Kerr is to not sell and to let my agent sell. And as the rainmaker, I've got to work on the business and the growth of the business and bringing in more agents and bringing in more business. And, that's Todd, I think that's one of the things that I probably missed on the last couple of 2 or 3 years was I just didn't bring in enough agents. I need to get to where I want to be, closing 450 homes a year, which is, to me, that's a good, happy goal for us as to where we are. I would be good closing 450 a year. That back in 2014, we closed 491. We had a great year that year. We did some selling to a REIT. We did almost $3 million in GCI in Oklahoma, and that's a pretty big number for our marketplace because at that time our average sales price was about 195. So we were humping along, but got to hit that goal. Got to have 450 next year, and I've got a lot of work to do it, but I've got to bring in some more agents, and it takes time. I don't need to be selling. Let the agent sell, and everything that I focus on needs to be about company growth, better marketing, and bringing in more agents to sell more for us.
Okay, so one thing I've noticed about you is that you're pretty quick to share. You're outspoken, helpful. You're giving a lot of details here to everybody that's watching and taking notes today. But I just want you to focus on that a little bit. I've got it on my slide here, personal sharing. Does it make a difference in your business to close yourself off to everyone and everything? Or have you found that strategic sharing, personal sharing, especially with people in our system here, has a way of really benefiting you as well? Do you have any examples?
Yeah, there's nobody in my program that in my area that's in Proctor that I'm competing with. And there's so much business in our marketplace that, to do my 450, there's I don't know, 12,000 real estate transactions in Metro Oklahoma City in a year's time, maybe more than that, maybe 14,000. So to share, especially with anybody in the program, if anybody wants any help on anything, all they have to do is email me, shoot me a text, give me a call. I can always break away for 7 to 10 minutes to talk because people shared with me. I built my business because of a lot of the other successful people inside the Proctor program. This is a coaching and mentoring program, and I'm all in for helping anybody get to where we are. We're financially, we could retire today. We're in our late 50s and we could retire, but I am way too competitive to want to leap out of this business. I'll probably die, recruiting an agent one day or at a customer event because I'm just not getting out of the business. I enjoy it too much. I'm passionate and I am competitive and I love what I do. And the program has been a big contributor for that, Todd. You, Craig, and all of the other people inside the program are huge contributors to my success. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm ready to share back with anybody and everybody.
That gets to my next question. Prosperous relationships. A lot of platinum members, I watch it, and you've been on stage, doing some sessions at our meetings, conferences. So I'm up there, I'm looking out at the audience and recognize, a really, almost everyone in the room faces, and many of them have known for many years. And I can always draw direct correlations to the most successful people in the room and the relationships that they have with others in the room. So there is something to say for creating these relationships with other people, and the opposite is true as well. For those people that show up to the meetings and then leave, and they really don't develop relationships, networking, sharing relationships with others that are there that are benefiting, doing well from the system, their struggles don't go away. So there's something to say with the development of these prosperous relationships, and you have quite a few of them. I would call them prosperous relationships. I don't know what you call them, but I built the slide around that. So how big a deal is it, man?
Well, I just call them drinking buddies, Todd.
Yeah, some of that. Yeah.
No. So seriously, it is interesting. Sometimes I'll be at a conference and walk to the restroom and walk past somebody who's wearing a Procter name badge, and they might look down and not say hello. And I always kind of bump them and say, hey, how are you doing? How are you enjoying the session? And so not everybody's, just ready to talk to everybody, but I think that's a huge part of what you've got to do is foster these relationships at the conferences. You got to go to the conferences. You got to foster the relationships and learn from the people around you. I could never write fast enough the first few conferences that I went to because I just talked to everybody. I was just a sponge and soaking everything up and making notes and calling my office. My office was always afraid, Todd, when I went to a conference because they were afraid of the phone calls that I was making back to the office. Hey, guys, we got to do this. Hey, I just talked to this member in Toronto. Hey, there's this person in Portland doing this. We got to do this immediately. And I would probably make 6 of those phone calls a day when I was off at the conferences, just mooching and just a leech off of what other people were doing. So those relationships, contributed greatly to where we are today, to our ability to actually sit back and retire if we wanted to. And we're not doing that. We're having way too much fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a correlation between those 5 things I just mentioned. There are 4 things: prosperous relationships, personal sharing, pivotal circle, the private disciplines, practical teaching. Those things are big. But I guess if there was one that I could wish upon everybody, it would be to pick them up and put them right in the middle of very, very successful people like you. Develop a relationship. Doesn't have to be an intimate friendship, but just a relationship. I call it prosperous relationship. Someone that you can talk to, ask questions. They will help and give. And it doesn't take much. I mean, within 1 minute, you've got a question answered that you didn't have an answer to, literally in a minute or two. So, yeah, it's something that a lot of platinum members miss out on. And I think that they, at some point, maybe their programming is to go it alone. But I talked to a platinum member last week that was the very first person I ever met and knew at a Craig Proctor conference from 1995. Very first one I went to in Toronto, and it was at the Royal York Hotel. The person I'm sitting next to was Todd Weiss from Wisconsin. We struck up a conversation. He's a platinum member. We still associate and do some things together, and he's a platinum member to this day. So that's a big freaking deal, man. And we can't overstate it at all, how important these relationships are. That must be developed. Again, friendships, that they will develop, but prosperous relationships is a kind of a different deal. Who you asking questions of, who you hanging out with, who you taking cues from. And that's a big deal. So I want to encourage everybody to have friends in the system, but you got to have those prosperous relationships. Let's look at another one. I call them epiphanies, pivotal circumstances. So you've had a few of those. You mentioned coming back from your Craig Proctor meeting, first one you went to, and implementing the Craig's Guaranteed Sale program into your business, and it was a big game changer for you. You have a few others. Any other pivotal circumstances or epiphanies that that when you did it, it led to like, oh my God, moments in your business?
Oh, just the simple fact of guaranteed sale, I never realized how many people would end up calling me and saying, hey, I'm here in Oklahoma and my aunt just passed away and I've got this house and I don't have time to put it on the market. We barely have time to clean it out. Would you just buy this home? And didn't realize how many investment opportunities. One of the reasons we could go retire today if we wanted to, and we have the money and the cash to do that, because it wasn't that way when I joined in 2007. We were successful, but not nearly to the same degree. So the investment opportunities and then the partnerships that came along from people calling and saying, hey, I hear you on the radio and we've got some cash available. Do you have some investments that we might be interested in? And we've been able to take some of those groups and put them together as investment groups and put them into even bigger projects. And so I think that the guaranteed sale program was much more than what I thought it was going to be, which was just Mr. Seller calls me and says, hey, can you guarantee my home or would you buy it? And it led to investment opportunities for us and led to consortiums of investors that came to us and said, we got money to spend. Do you have a place we can put it? And so that epiphany came in a long time ago. And there's been some other ideas that have been introduced recently at some of the conferences as far as bringing even more agents in and setting them up on different platforms. I won't get into that, but that was an epiphany that Jay Macklin brought to the table at the last meeting, in the broker owner meeting. And that was a smoking good session. That was really good. And then there's always things that other people are contributing to give you an even better listing presentation than what you've got. Warren Flax at our last meeting had an amazing, you were there, I think, and his room was so packed, people couldn't even sit down.
Standing room only.
Oh, that was fabulous. And I was taking notes as fast as I could go with things that he was saying. So, a lot of these epiphanies, Todd, just come from being at the meetings. You just can't do this by telephone. You can't focus. What if I'd been on this webinar and this guy had walked in to list this $700,000 house? You think I was going to listen to the webinar? So that's unfortunately these interruptions come along, and that's the reason that the live meetings are so important. Gives you time to steal away and actually work on your business without interruptions.
Brilliant. Brilliant observation. One of the reasons that I get when I'm talking to Platinum members, like, hey, you've missed 2 of the last meetings. Like, what are you doing? Well, I'm really busy being a real estate agent. That's my words, not theirs. I'm busy with these buyers. I'm busy with these listings. I'm just busy, quote, being a real estate agent. And they don't say I'm busy being a real estate agent. They just say I'm busy with customers. And I'm like, okay, didn't you tell me that your goal was to have a real estate business versus a real estate job? And they're like, that's absolutely my number one goal. Then how are you going to accomplish your number one goal? By avoiding it, by doing more of the thing that takes you farther from it. All right.
You can't do it, Todd. You can do one or the other. You can either work on your business or you can go sell.
Yes.
And we all have to start. I mean, we have to transition, right? Yeah. Everybody who comes into the program selling, but you have to transition where you're working on your business every day. And you've got to have a plan for doing that. You can't be interrupted. You've got to say, my business is so important to me that I'm going to go in and close my door. I need this time to organize my day, to organize my tasks, to think about recruiting, what my business needs, what else I could be doing for marketing, looking at lead generation. What am I spending? What am I making? How are my inside sales agents doing? How am I going to grow my business? And you just have to focus on that. You have to put selling aside for long enough to work on your business, and then you've got to have time to implement it. Mm-hmm. In my case, I've got some good administrative people to do that, but you don't have to have administrative people, but you do have to have a plan for working and growing your business.
All right, so let's talk about that a bit more. Then we'll take a few questions here. We've got a pretty fair supply of them. Strategy. So I'd like to find out how important some of these things are to you. First thing I want to ask you about is a scorecard or measurables. How important is it to measure things in your business, and what are the big things that you believe are important to measure?
Well, and it depends on, we have scorecards now for our administrative people. How are they contributing to the growth of the team? Are they implementing new ideas? Are they bringing their new ideas to the table for the OSAs? It's more about, am I showing houses? Am I making calls? So the scorecards, everybody liked the idea. I brought that back, from one of the recent conferences and said, hey guys, we all agree that when we go play sports, somebody's keeping score. And it's all about individual performances inside the team. Everybody's got to contribute to the team. So the scorecard idea was terrific, and it mimics some of the other scorecards that some of the other members have brought to the table. That's been something the team really enjoyed, and the agents get measured too on whether it's follow-up calls, calling a past customer. Calling a past customer on our scorecard counts for several points, because you got to go back and call those past customers because they already know what a great person you are. That's the easiest business in the world to earn. So we made that a higher point total on our scorecards for our OSAs to go back and call their past customers.
Yep. Scorecard measurables. Everybody plays differently when you keep score. Now, are you rewarding around? You mentioned something about points. How does your reward or awards look like around some of these measurables?
Yeah, sure. So like the administrative people, so that they are motivated, we do like dinner gift certificates to local restaurants, or we'll go do a fun night and buy a gift certificate to a family fun place or bowling. But mostly food. Everybody likes food, right? Everybody likes to eat. So we like to do restaurant gift certificates, and for our agents, we get them prizes because I advertise on the radio. We get goodies from the radio station. I'm spending money, so they have to give back. So we ask them to give prices, and they'll give us everything from, hair salons to restaurants to entertainment also. And so yeah, there's a reward. Of course, you don't want people just to do it for the reward. The key is there's got to be some intrinsic reason that people are doing this. And so when you've got the right people on your team, they care about the success of the team, and they're not just doing it for a dinner gift certificate, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're pretty good about casting a compelling vision for everybody in your organization, so they see that they're working towards something that's bigger than just themselves or that transaction. So you have done an outstanding job there. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, it's real simple, Todd. Nobody wants to be part of something that's not growing. Everybody wants to be part of something bigger. They want their organization to grow. So there's nobody on my team, none of my admins look and say, hey, we don't want to do any more work than what we did last year. They're all bought into a bigger goal, serving more people. We've started adopting this serving families, just like Sarah Reynolds has done, and a few of our other Titanium members. We're not selling homes anymore. We're helping families. So now that we're helping families and we're helping Children's Hospital, everybody in our organization knows what our goal is and why we're there, as opposed to just, hey, let's just sell some more homes and make some more money for the OSAs and for the firm. So yeah, everybody knows what our goal is, and everybody is reaching to get that, and everybody's really bought into it. Everybody wants to be part of something bigger, Todd. Nobody wants to just do what they did the year before. Our people do anyway. We brought in good people that want to be forward thinkers and move forward and not just sit still. And you can hire those people. There, somebody a long time ago, was it you or Craig, that said we got a lot of ordinary people doing an extraordinary job. And I think that's who we are. We got ordinary people doing an extraordinary job, serving families and helping people get where they want to be.
All right, let's talk then about big initiatives, because you said earlier that you were doing things were going pretty well, getting other people in your organization to work on implementation. So you're obviously working from some list and plan of initiatives. What are say 1, 2, 3, 4 big initiatives that you have right now that you're trying to push forward to get done over the next month or 2 or 3?
Well, that's isn't that funny you ask? Because I just opened up my Anaheim list, and we'll just see here on my handy dandy laptop that just went into sleep mode. So that's nice for the webinar. Everybody can just sit here and while I log back into my laptop, and I'll tell you how we're doing on that list. So we are working on recruiting right now, and bringing in some more people, some more agents to sell so that we can hit that goal. I found that the people on my team, my agents, after a few years, they're kind of predictable on how many they're going to be able to sell in a year's time. I've got people selling 55 homes a year, and I've got some selling 20 a year, and I can just about figure out who that is. So we're working on our raving fan system. So we talked more about raving fans at closing, and buying little bottles of plastic or small glasses and champagne, and celebrating even the toughest closings, because it all culminates at closing. And so really making that a celebration. Hey guys, hey, we got through this together. I know it was tough. We hit a couple of stumbling blocks, and that other agent was an idiot, on the other end. They didn't know what they were doing. And boy, those sellers were tough, but man, we conquered this together, and we got you into the home of your dreams. And so let's celebrate here. So we've been working on raving fans at closings, and I came back and we implemented the RBID program again. That's kind of a lesson in itself, and you've done some stuff on that. Came back and printed the big old, I spent time with Brian on your team, who did an amazing job as an ISA. I came back and printed that complete 16-page objection manual, and printed every page of it, the one that Brian memorized. Mm-hmm. You said he became your best ISA ever. We just came back and printed right off the Craig Proctor site, and sat in sales meeting and went through this and said, how many of you guys could go through and quote every one of these objections? So, that was a big implementation deal to make sure that my agents could handle all of those objections. Let's see, we came back and changed our success website, got a more updated look to the 20th anniversary version. That was important. Came back and talked with my team about what if there was no MLS. Remember that discussion, Todd?
Oh, that was beautiful. That was fun.
Yeah, it was. We made a checklist with all the agents, and I said, hey, if your sellers are ever calling, Todd, you never had one seller that called you and said, what are you really doing to sell my home? Nobody ever asked me that.
Never happened. Yeah, never happened in my career. What are you talking about?
So we set up the last conference and said, what if there was no MLS? And so we sat with the agents and said, here's the things in 2019 that our company is going to implement, so that if a seller calls up, whether it is personal business cards, to take to holiday parties, we got back, and Todd, we'd gotten away from that a little bit, the little cards that you print that look like a little two-sided business card that fold up like a little tent, printing those in color on our color copier on cardstock, and printing those all out and getting them all out to our sellers and saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, be sure and take this to every holiday party you go to. Take a stack of these that we've sent you and go put them by the food, because everybody's going to be standing by the food. And somebody will pick up one of those cards and say, wow, whose house is this? Oh, that's mine. We're listed with Kerr King Real Estate. And so take this back to work with you and tell anybody you know. And they say, wow, look at this. Your home sold guaranteed, or we'll buy it. So just little things. We came back and said, what do we need to be doing? And so in 2019, our company goal for all of our OSAs is, if someone looks at one of my OSAs and says, what are you doing to sell my home? They're going to rattle off about 13 to 14 items and just say, remember, I know we sat down 60 days ago and I went through with my laptop exactly what we were going to do, but I know it's hard to remember all that. Let me go through the 14 things that we're doing right now that others aren't doing to sell your home. And we felt like that was really important because we're in a slower economy. So that's something that a lot of other people on this call may not need to do. But I'm in a little bit slower economy right now. So nursing those listings along and keeping those people happy and having answers for that to my agents. So that was something that was really important.
Great job, dude. First of all, you're working from a list of things to do. So let's pause there for a minute. The lists come from, the overall business plan. So when everybody jumps into Platinum, we give them a business plan. It's pretty complex. And I say, hey, read this plan. Here's a checklist for the first 6 months. So there's two pretty good lists right there to work from. Coming to the meetings, being on the webinars, everything we talk about comes right out of the business plan in the checklist. We're not pulling things out of thin air, like they are coming from these plans, but they're highlighted. We're highlighting the things that are working, say, the most based on present circumstances and market conditions wherever people may be. That's why it's so important, to be on the webinars, at the meetings, and talking to other members, because you gain the perspective of what is working now versus implementing or going down a road and working on something that just is not going to make that much of a difference in the business right now based on where trends are headed. So I thought that was a big gold nugget there. And another big gold nugget I just picked up from you was your rapid pace of implementation. You rattled off a lot of things here, Wally, in the last 5 minutes as a result of Anaheim come back, and they're already like being implemented and done. And some people on the webinar today still looking at the same list that they had in Anaheim, and nothing's being checked off. Let's put it that way. So I think that would probably be the biggest difference between those that are the most successful, those that success is the level of success we're trying to achieve is not there yet, is just the pace of implementation. So that's the secret sauce in this whole thing. All right, let's look at a couple of others. I want to talk about just regular to-dos. You carved out some big things, but you're pretty good. When I was at your office, and I remember that was a historical event for me, being there, hanging out with you for a day or two, going down to Oklahoma City and seeing the memorial there. I remember all that. It was way awesome.
Yeah, that was great. That was an awesome trip, Todd. It was really great. You
remember they was it Stooks chased us out of the stadium there when we snuck in there to see the football team practicing? Remember that?
Yeah, when you started doing cartwheels down on the field, they didn't know quite what to make of that, you know?
Yeah. And like us spying on their on Oklahoma's football practice, and I can understand why. They've got a great team. So, but I remember when I was there. But it seemed like everybody in your business was really good at working from lists of things to do. They didn't show up and wonder what they were going to do that day. Good use of the contact management systems. Everybody's working from a checklist and a to-do list as well. So, how do you organize that or keep that organized?
So we have a Monday administrative meeting at 1:30 where everybody brings their ideas to the table, and we have a set agenda. It will be talking about anything from signage needs to agent issues that we might have, agents not turning in contracts, whatever it might be. But then we have a brainstorming session at the end where the question is always the same: what do we do this week to move the business forward? Mm-hmm. Everybody bring your ideas to the table. So they have 1 week from the time we meet to try to get their new ideas implemented. And we just launched a really big one last week that I'm really excited about. If it does as good as I think it's going to, this is something that everybody inside the program will want to try inside their city. The idea came from one of my agents from North Carolina, and it's an awesome idea, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. We're going to do the event in February, and it's just an amazing opportunity for big time publicity. And but I'm not going to say anything about it. You know, I'm going to tempt you, but that's all you get. But yeah, Mondays, the admin meeting. Of course, the sales agent, the teams, the sales meetings are always about a topic. And you know, my sales meetings are easy to do. You just go open the CP coaching site and go pick a topic, and there's your sales meeting because you already know the material. So it's sales meetings are really easy for our organization. But yeah, with the admins, hey, just there's a lot of creativity there. Tap into those resources that the people have. If they're on board with wanting the organization to move forward, just allow it to be a brainstorming session. But we do keep our meetings, Todd, to an hour so that people don't dread the meetings. So we start at 1:30 and we are never done any later than 2:30. So everybody is eager to come and share, and it's open forum, you know.
All right, so let's sort of land the plane here, and then we'll get to some questions. If you got about another 15 minutes.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, good. And I want to talk about issues, you know, threats and problems. First of all, do you have any issues in your business?
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, we got a little bit of a challenged economy here, and I didn't sell as much as I wanted to this year, and I still keep I watch my numbers, and you're aware of that. I try to keep my advertising, to about 15%, no less than 11, and no higher than about 15% of GCI, and I always stay within that area. 15% is our most aggressive times of year. You know, like I'll ramp up my radio during the summer months when I know we can sell homes and I know more people are going to sell, and I pulled back here for the fall time. But I got off base.
That's okay. No, I'm just asking about. I want to know really about your addressing issues because you know how if you let's say we show up to a sales meeting and and if all we talk about is the issues that we're having or the problems, it seems to be a bit negative. So you have a pretty distinct way of keeping an issues list or dealing with issues, but always making sure that people are well aware of the good news and the great things that are going on in your business as well.
Okay,
That's just sort of a leadership. Sure. That's just sort of a leadership that's built into your DNA more than anything else that I've seen. But I do want everybody to know that every business out there, mine, yours, Craig Proctor's, we all have issues.
No, you're right. I guess that's what I see as our biggest issue right now is just I want our economy to grow. But yeah, I mean, issues are just part of business. I think it's just how you approach it, whether it's an admin issue or a customer issue or an OSA issue. It's no big deal. Those are just about, you just use your sales skills to solve the issues. Those are going to come up every day. It's good to take inventory every morning and just be really thankful for what you've got and get up in the mornings and when you sit in that time period and realize that you've got a business and a business that you can grow and that it's up to you, and look at your successes and think about all the successes you've had and think about all the people that have thanked you for the job you've done for them. And if you could just get that in your mind every morning when you've got that quiet time when you're working on your business, there's no issue that's ever going to come up that's not solvable. And if it is, you just call one of the people that I've talked about in the program, the ones you fostered the relationships with. I call other people in the program all the time and ask them and say, hey man, I got this. What would you do? And 2 heads or 3 heads are always better than one. I don't know that we really end up with issues. I'm not sure what to identify here, but we don't ever end up with issues that are unsolvable.
Right. Everyone is. That's a great point. Every issue that everyone is having in their business right now that's watching this webinar, the solution is already there. It's in place. We may not know what it is, but yes, there's a good chance, a high likelihood that I know the solution. And if I don't know it, there are other people here that do. So we're committed to solving the issues. What's required is the team leader must be clear on what the real issue is. It can't be vague. So I'll give you an example. I'm talking to some guys earlier today, Platinum members, and business is not going the way that they want it to go. And I said, you haven't solved your number one issue, overflow of business. So you can't grow a business that doesn't have more business than you can get to. So your number one issue is marketing. You guys are just not running enough ads in enough places more often. The marketing that you do have is not really marketing. The offer's not clear. The call to action, like, what are you offering me? What do you want me to do now? Like, you have a marketing issue here. Like, the other issues won't matter unless you have more business than you can get to, or at least enough business to pay the bills. So we have to solve that issue. But you have to be really good at clarifying, or with clarity, what is the real issue in the business? Like, what is our number one issue? You are really good at that, but you never let it sit. In other words, once there's an issue that's identified, you're pretty quick on solving it. So
yeah, you just go to work. I mean, if it's vital to you growing your business, there's nothing that's more important. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, just identify what it is and say, how do I solve it? And if you don't know how to solve it yourself, find another member that does know how. Email me, text me, send up some smoke signals, man. I'll send some back, Yep.
All right. One final thing, and we'll take some questions here. And that is clearly defining the win. So when you have a client appreciation event, you have a pretty clearly defined what you're trying to get out of it, what the win is. So when you and I get together for a consult, there's a clearly defined what we're going to accomplish today. So when the day's over, did we win? Like, everything's played against a win and loss. It's everything. The whole business is a game. Craig calls it a game worth playing. So there's always a win in everything. So when you get up today, what is the win for the month? For the week, for the year, for the meeting that you're having, for the phone call that you're making, for the marketing piece that's being put out. Everything has a clearly defined objective, and the objective is a win, not a loss. But isn't it right, Wally? Even some of our losses we gain, like we learn something. from the ad, from the meeting, from the listing appointment, from showing that buyer the house. Like, we learn something even from the losses. They can be there's objectives in it. So it's not a zero sum game. We're learning and gaining from everything that we do or you do every day. I just got to remind everybody that you just must have a clearly defined objective, or i.e. what the win is going to be. And you're pretty good at that.
Yeah, for a seller and a buyer at closing, it's got to be a 5-star review. For a customer appreciation event, it's got to be the contact, but it's got to be referrals. We will always learn more from our failures than we will from our successes. So failure is just part of the deal, man. It's part of the deal. It's going up to bat. You want to hit the ball. You're going to strike out a few times, but the goal is to hit the ball. And so 5-star reviews. Coming out of an administrative meeting and everybody being positive and saying we're doing the right things to move forward. Meeting with the inside sales agents and saying, hey, I want to help increase your conversions, and walking away from the ISA and them smiling on their face and saying I can do that. Helping the OSAs with the objections and helping them overcome some of those objections. Taking those sellers who have been on the market 60 days that are losing faith and telling them and saying, listen, we're deeply committed to making sure that your home sells. I mean, it's just all about how do you measure success? And it is, are you getting your referrals from past customers? Are you helping the buyers and sellers get where they want to be? Are you helping your staff grow personally and in the team growth? Are your OSAs making more money? Your ISAs converting more leads? And that's why you got to have time to work on your business instead of in your business. Because if you go and abandon those people who need you to be the leader and the rainmaker, your business just won't grow. It just won't grow. It can't.
Excellent. All right. That's a lot of stuff, dude. And you've been very, very thorough with your answers. We appreciate it. Let's take some questions here. I don't know if Andrea is going to do those for us, or if I need to do that on my own. I'm going to say I'm going to do it because she's in the background kind of monitoring this thing. But let's go to a few questions here. I've got them handy, so I'm going to jump in there and do that. And you got time for a couple of these, right, Wally?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Todd, you don't have the legs for this though. You're not. I don't know how you're going to do on connecting these people together. That's normally Andrea's job, but we'll give you a shot. How's that? See if you know how to work all these electronics.
I can multitask. So for people that were late to the webinar today that didn't catch the introduction of you and who you are, real quickly again, just tell everybody who you are, your marketplace, what your business looks like today, if you don't mind, for the record.
Yeah, sure. So it's the Wally Kerr real estate team in the Oklahoma City metro area, 2 offices, a team of 23 with 11 OSAs, 2 ISAs, about 8 people on our administrative staff, including a couple of couriers that may be in there that may not be on the head count. We're closing consistently. We just passed about 2.25 million in GCI this year, on the way to closing about 345 homes this year is what the end total is going to look like. And with you and Craig consistently without interruption since 2007.
Yep. Okay. Next question. I'm an agent in a big office using the Craig Proctor system. How do I get other agents to join my team and work for my system? As of right now, everyone knows that I can generate leads, and they just want either the leads or they want me to teach them to generate leads.
So how do you get them on your team? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. How do I recruit agents? That's a pretty general question, but you got some specifics on it. We'll point out some resources as well, but go ahead.
Well, it's real simple. There's just a lot of agents that just don't want to go develop the leads. They just want to show the homes, and there's always plenty of people that want to do that. Some of my agents don't even really love listing homes because they really don't want the obligation of reporting to the sellers, even though we make it very easy with a customer service manager, but they'd rather just go show homes. So if you can develop an overflow of leads, which is what the CP system teaches you to do, getting people to join your team and go out and show homes for you, because that's the time-consuming part. Todd, I hate showing homes. There's nothing more I detest in real estate than showing homes. It is the worst use of my time to go drive people around for 6 hours on a Saturday afternoon and let them look at 14 homes and then want to go out and look again the next Saturday. So I got plenty of people that want to join my team and go show homes.
Mhm.
So that's a no-brainer. Whether they're in your real estate office or just recruiting, off the street. For people who are already working inside an office, it's really easy to pick up those agents that are only selling, 3 to 6 homes a year that want to be a part of something bigger, and they want to be busy and productive, and going and showing homes is easy to recruit agents to do. Easy peasy.
Yeah, you have what they want, business.
You got the leads, you got the business. They just want leads, and they don't want to have to prospect for it. They don't want to knock doors. They don't want to make phone calls. Probably the kind that don't even call their past customers if they have any, because they're just not real good at that prospecting deal.
Yeah, the key thing in this is just having the business. Like, you've got more business you can get to, so you have something that others will be interested in. Here I am in the file library at CraigProctorCoaching.com. You guys can see the Platinum Recruiting Libraries, Admin, ISA, and OSA. You can get lost right there into recruiting, but write this down as a directive for all of you that have overflow and you're really trying to grow this real estate sales team business. You got Team System Manual. That is required reading for everybody on the webinar. A good bit of you, most of you have already been through that, poured through it, are implementing it. By me, it might be the single greatest piece of collateral that we've ever produced here. So Craig said that Catherine put that together quite a few years back. So go to the, let me erase my drawings, go back to my normal drawing tool.
And Todd, when you visited my office, you walked in and you said, I remember listening to you, and you walked in and sat across from somebody's desk and you said, what's your role here? What do you do? What's your role? And everybody knew very clearly exactly what their role. There was not duplication of the process inside our office. We just brought in the people as we needed them and put them in their place, and they know exactly what their job is. And that team manual that Catherine, drew up years and years ago is awesome. Awesome. It clearly defines roles and responsibilities and duties, and you can modify that. I mean, you can go in and make up your own agreements and change it up as you need, but that's invaluable to have that team system manual. It's awesome.
Yep, it's like if this was a McDonald's franchise, that is, other than the marketing pieces, this would be the second greatest piece of collateral that you guys would need to be able to put the business together. Don't follow it at your own peril. All right. So let's look at a couple of other. I have a listing in a subdivision that will only allow one sign and a rider. The rider will be your home sold guaranteed or will buy it. Regular first. How do you incorporate the house talk sign in a subdivision like that only allows, say one for sale sign?
Yeah, I guess you're going to need a different frame, aren't you? Because you're going to need the for sale sign, and it's just going to need to maybe be a little bit larger, and then incorporate and have a space for that house talk sign down below it. So it could be counted as one sign. Let's just go to one frame and just put multiple panels in it and just make the frame a little bit bigger.
There you go. Yep.
That's easy.
Yep. There you go. So an extra rider, maybe if they only allow one rider, then remember the house talk, they can listen into your message by putting in a URL, and you will have your guaranteed sale program, your USP there for sure. Okay, good. Hey, how's your real estate commissions, Wally, in terms of what you get per transaction measured up to the industry average there? Are you right?
Yeah, really good.
Are you getting more?
We don't ever take hardly any listing at less than 6.25, and our industry standard is there's just a lot of people in my marketplace. We got a couple of really big, and this is not picking on anybody, we got a couple of really huge Keller Williams offices in my marketplace, and those agents compete against each other. And so we go in consistently and show value, and we're told that people are offered 1% listing commissions on their properties. 4.5%, 5% is just really common in my marketplace. And all of the listings we take are between 6.25% and 7%. And we have no problems getting it whatsoever. It's all about demonstrating value. There is no objection to cost in the presence of value. And you just have to just absolutely burn that into your mind and show the people enough value. Show them your buyer database, show them your value, show them your stats, find some stats that work for you, and people will pay more. You know, we have tremendous success, Todd, with expired listings. We like expireds more than FSBOs because expireds are ready. They've already paid 5.5%, maybe even sometimes 6% before, and their home didn't sell. Those are the ones where we can easily go in and get 7 because their home didn't sell and they were paying 6 or 5.5, and they're ready for their home to be done. They're tired of waking the kids up on Saturday mornings, putting the dog in the car and driving him around the block for an hour and tidying the home up. So, man, we're great with the expireds. And it's easy. That's an easy phone call, man. Hey, it's Wally Kerr. Noticed your home expired. Are you 100% committed to relisting with the same agent? I'm the guy that says your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. Well, I don't know. How's that work? Well, I don't know. Let me come over and let me explain it to you. And let me look at your home and see if you qualify. So we love working expireds. Expireds are great.
Yep. I think that you'd like working.
Yeah, I like to work.
Yeah,
let's put it this way. My wife, Cindy, likes me to work. How's that? And it just so happens that I also like to work. So it's a pretty good relationship.
Well, you're
23 years of marriage, pretty good. So,
well, you're good at it. Look, and I want to thank you, for putting in all the time today, Thanksgiving week here in the United States, and pouring into everybody that joined in today, the hundreds of Platinum members here. So we got most of the questions answered along the way. Subtly, those were a few that didn't address. And one thing you mentioned, Wally, was the importance of being at the meeting. So you want to consider all the meetings to be basically multi-day, off-site business planning and strategy meetings. And so if you'll look at these conferences as that, which is what they are going to be way more likely to attend. Conference indicates optional. These aren't optional if you're seriously committed to the absolute conversion of a job into business. If you're committed to that, then you'll be there, and we won't miss them. There's only 3 or 4 big ones a year, so it's not like something that people can't do. All right, Wally, anything else you want to add?
Honestly, it's just the best time I ever spend, buddy. I mean, I could sit and work inside my office, and even with my quiet time, the best thing I can ever do for my business is to escape the business and get out the door and get on the airplane and get in the conferences and get engrossed and listen to what's working, listen to new ideas, and grow my business. And there's so much more that happens at the conferences when I get away than anything I'll ever be able to accomplish on my own. It's just vital, It's got to happen.
Thanks, man. Listen, I really appreciate your time today. I know that everybody's asking for a copy of the PowerPoint that we went through. You'll find that under the Platinum Business Plans Library, everyone. That PowerPoint under the Platinum Business Plans Library. And Wally, we know where you are. You're right there on Facebook, and you've got your business right there in Oklahoma. You're at the meeting, so I want to encourage everybody to reach out to Wally, say hey to him, and a big thanks for jumping on and pouring out what his multi-millionaire agent business looks like and how it's benefiting him. And
it's all because of you and Craig, Todd. I didn't do it on my own, and I needed the help. And you just got to get in here and implement, copy and implement. So it's just been a pleasure, and I'm just so pleased to be associated with you guys 11 years after the fact, after joining up. And gosh, happy Thanksgiving to all the Platinums, to everybody, and to you and your family too, Todd. I hope you have just a wonderful holiday.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody in the States this week. You guys, I know, work hard and enjoy that day there with friends, family, or whatever you're going to be doing. And Wally, I look forward to talking to you and seeing you soon. Thanks, everyone. Go serve big. We'll see you.